Today, I'll be sharing two of my favorite muffins, blueberry muffins and banana muffin recipes with you. Hello and welcome to this edition of Majid's Kitchen.
Banana Muffins.
And now for the ingredients. We are going to divide the ingredients into two sets, one being the dry and the other one being the wet. So let's start with the dry ingredients. 350 grams of all-purpose flour that's been sifted, 200 grams of dark brown sugar or brown sugar, a good pinch of salt, 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Let's move on to the wet ingredients. 2 whole eggs, 120 ml of vegetable oil, and 200 ml of thick yogurt. You could use buttermilk as a substitute, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and I'm using 3.5 to 4 bananas pureed. So that's it for the ingredients, folks. Let's move on to the next step. Before we proceed, let's speak a little bit about the oven temperature. I have preheated my oven to 180 degrees Celsius, which works out to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The next step, I'm going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. Leave the sugar out. So we're going to add in the salt and the baking powder to the flour. Begin working on the rest of the ingredients, or the wet ingredients. Cream the eggs and the sugar. Add in the vegetable oil, the banana puree, and mix the yogurt in well. I will show you how to combine these ingredients in the blueberry video coming up shortly. Different silicone molds may react differently. I've used these before and I always like to line them. This helps the muffins to rise properly, and at times they do stick to the molds. So having these paper cups just put in like this will help solve that problem, and easy to take the muffins out. So just place the liners just on the top like that, and once we've had the batter ready, we're just going to put a spoon or a scoop of it into that liner, and the liner will sink to the bottom of the mold. Just gently around the edges. Soft, moist, real fluffy and delicious. Another one of my favorite muffins is a blueberry muffin, and that's what I thought of making today right here on Majid's Kitchen. As usual, I'm going to split the ingredient list into two categories, the dry and the wet. So for the dry ingredients, 350 grams of all-purpose flour that's been sifted, 200 grams of brown sugar, a pinch of salt, and 3 teaspoons of baking powder. For the wet ingredients, we have a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 whole eggs, 200 grams of thick yogurt, and 120 ml of vegetable oil. A few tools that will help you get the work done efficiently is a spatula, a whisk perhaps in the beginning to get everything started, and a scoop. You can also use a spoon or a tablespoon to fill. And the yield for the 350 grams of flour, or this particular recipe, you're looking at a dozen muffins. If you're going to use 1 scoop, I'm using a 1/3 cup or number 12 scoop. You would get easily 15 muffins, 15 muffins. I'm also using silicone molds with liners. Now, even if you could use a light spray, vegetable oil spray, or brush them out or dusted them out, removing them sometimes you might find it to be quite challenging. So I always like to use liners, and this helps also in the bake. It guides the muffins to rise a cleaner and better finished product. So another tip, when we make these muffins, we're going to add or the dry to the wet ingredients. I'm only going to be holding back the sugar, because what I will be doing is mixing the sugar and the eggs together. Set your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius, and you check them using a skewer, and if the skewer comes out clean, you know your muffins are ready. Let's get all the ingredients together. First step, just a small tip on the blueberries. A lot of times when you mix blueberries into a batter and bake it, they tend to sink to the bottom of your muffin cups or whatever you may be making. In this case, a small trick is to take a little bit of flour. So we're going to put the blueberries in here, and we're going to just give them a light dusting of flour. So just use the same flour that you have in the bowl, because we'll be mixing everything in this bowl. So as you can see, so that's just a small trick. So I'm going to start with the eggs. So you just use the same bowl. It's not going to make a difference having a little flour in there. Going in with the sugar now. And we're going to just give that a quick mix. And what we want to do here is kind of dissolve the sugar. Now if you have brown sugar that, you know, with brown sugar it always tends to get hard, just put it in a blender and break it down. You can cut your sugar with white sugar if you need to, but I find that brown sugar gives a very nice flavor to these muffins. Mixing it until the sugar kind of melts in with the eggs. The next one will be the yogurt. So that goes in there. And we incorporate that. This is where we add in the oil. So with the oil and the yogurt, it adds a richness to the muffin. Now you're going to find that when the muffin is baked, that it's not going to be dry. It's going to be fluffy and moist. And this is also because of the addition of yogurt. You can also substitute that yogurt with buttermilk. So make sure everything is well mixed. Get that well blended in there. This we will add to the flour. Just add that right in there. And what you want to do, add to the flour. Just add that right in there. And what you want to do is just mix it so that it's dispersed through the flour. About a third or less, just to get started. Now the trick with any baking, especially with muffins, is not to overwork or overmix the batter. So in the beginning, we're just going to try and blend this flour in, just like this. And at this stage we'll use a whisk, just so that we eliminate those lumps in the beginning. And there's no need to use a cake mixer here. Judge it by eye, eyeball it, so they say, and do the same thing. So fold. Get in on the sides. Make sure there's no flour sticking on the sides. We want to ensure there's no pockets of flour in the batter. See? With the sides. Okay, at this stage we can add in the balance of the flour, and we are going to swap out the whisk for the spatula. So let's go in with half of what's left, and we'll come back and finish it off. So it's going to be folding, just folding it ever so lightly. So cut and fold. Okay, so you can see that most of it is blended in there. So we'll just go in now with the rest of the flour and do the same thing. As you can see, it's gone quite thick. So you can see it's been very lightly just folding of all the ingredients. Okay, we eliminate any flour residue. And we got a nice batter. So there was just a little bit of a few drops of oil in here, so I'm just gonna go in with the brush and just kind of lightly give this a brush. Now I found that when you don't do that, when you eat in the muffin, when you peel away the liner, a lot of the muffins tends to get stuck on the liner, and it's really a waste. So by adding a little bit of oil, I find it solves that problem. Now to fold them, as I said, I'm going to use one full scoop here. So I'm going to do probably half a scoop first, put some blueberries in, and finish it off with the other half. So about that much. And we go in there, and you'll find that the cups will sink to the bottom. So that's pretty easy. Okay, make sure they're straight. Right, so there you go. And at this point we'd add in a couple of blueberries in each one. Just kind of like push them lightly into the batter. Put as many as you like. I'm using an average of about 4 or 5 here, and then we'll finish some on the top of the muffins. Okay, so just like this, and then we'll go in and top it up with another half scoop of the batter. Now when it goes into the oven, the batter will melt and start to bake, and it will even out. And they are happy in the oven doing their thing. We'll be right back.
For different size muffins and oven temperatures, you can check it with a toothpick, and if it comes out clean, your muffins are ready. I hope you give these recipes a try. You can make them ahead, wrap them properly, and freeze them for later. I encourage you to try these recipes, share the videos, and subscribe to Majid's Kitchen.